It's a testament to the editing prowess of certain trailer houses that they were able to turn Mass Effect Andromeda around in regards to how it looks in the trailers. Obviously, if you played Mass Effect Andromeda like I did back at launch, or even if you go back to it today, it's still a bit of a stuttering mess. But the original reveal trailer back in 2015 did look promising, did show, I'm sure it was the Ryder's father, the N7 Space Marine chap dude that was in the original teaser trailer for Mass Effect Andromeda, which is, you just see him sort of jetpacking around the place, looking over this sort of desert sky, this desert planet place. You know, it's the whole future of Mass Effect. It might be something amazing. We don't even know what they're going to do. And then the launch trailer as well, again, if you go back to that now, the song, it doesn't really fit. It's that whole, you know, we're only human song. You'll know what I mean. It's that thing. But still, the way that it's edited together, the way that they do show the only handful of animations that worked at the time, the way they bring them together to sort of, you know, pretend that Mass Effect Andromeda was a working product, that's the lie. That's the big old lie, that Andromeda was just a big old smouldering tire fire, both in the 2-week early access period where everybody laughed at all the GIFs that came out, and then even at launch, and even now, 3 years later, I think it's been 3 years, however long it's been, it's still a big old mess. So yeah, it would be the 2015 initial reveal that sort of give us like a glimpse of what things could be, you know, what could Mass Effect potentially be. And then the launch trailer, which, like I said, go back now and watch that, and you'd be forgiven for thinking, oh, they might have actually done something. No, they didn't. That trailer was very much stitched together from the handful of assets that were working at the time, and everything else was just a complete mess. So maybe someday Mass Effect will come back, but every single thing to do with Andromeda was just ridiculously bad.
Right, okay, the video game trailer that tripped me the most, I'm very gullible when it comes to video game trailers. I get so excited. If you name all the classic video game trailers that we know to be, you know, truly deceptive, chances are I probably bought into the hype train at one point or another. I was a big early proponent of Watch Dogs when they first announced that, and they showed the gameplay of it at E3. And then when they showed the next gen gameplay, like the next year, I was like, this is gonna be the best game ever. And then it wasn't. And this is a thing that happens with Ubisoft titles a lot, because a lot of my favourite games kind of came from Ubisoft in the late 2000s. In particular, the Tom Clancy franchise. I was a huge fan of Ghost Recon back in the late noughties. Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter, Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter 2, both amazing tactical shooters. And then when trailers for Future Soldier came out, it was kind of like me just going, it's still good, and it was just okay. Even though the trailers themselves, I was like, this could be the best thing ever. And the same thing happened with Ghost Recon Wildlands and Ghost Recon Breakpoint. And of course I played both games, and while Wildlands was okay, it was not what it was cracked up to be, which is, you know, sadly symptomatic of a lot of Ubisoft titles over the last 10 years. Now, the trailer, however, that has deceived me the most isn't really like a trailer that... It's not even the trailer's fault, it's my fault. Earlier this year, there was an update for Rainbow Six Siege that introduced Sam Fisher into the game. Now, when Ubisoft dropped this trailer, I was just doom scrolling through Twitter, as you do in the year of our Lord 2020, and then I see the goggles come up. I'm like, oh my god, this is it, this is the moment we've all been waiting for. I'm getting ready to like speed dial Scott Tailford and just scream down the phone like one of those Budweiser men from like the early noughties. And then it goes a little bit further, and I hear the dulcet tones of Michael Ironside, so I'm getting obviously more excited, which is dumb considering that he already reprised the role for 2 separate occasions in Ghost Recon Wildlands and Ghost Recon Breakpoint. And he steps out the shadows, and I'm like, this is it, this is the moment, this is Splinter Cell returning, he's getting a full new game, it's gonna be great. And he looks not very secret agent-y or stealthy, and I'm like, don't know about that, Ubisoft. And then obviously a few seconds later they're like, Rainbow Six Siege, Sam Fisher is coming to Rainbow Six Siege. And I'm just like, I like Rainbow Six Siege, or rather I liked it back when the meta made sense and there weren't a bajillion different operators who could see through walls and track your footsteps and all that kind of bollocks. But equally, again, it's my own fault. I shouldn't have gotten my hopes up. I saw the goggles, and I was like, you know what? Sam's back, baby. But he wasn't. He's not back. He's never coming back. He's just gonna be like in those really bad mobile games forever now, where he'll team up with Tattoo Man from Ghost Recon Wildlands, and maybe Aiden Pierce will be involved too. I don't know. It's all just really dumb. Do I want Splinter Cell to come back? I'm getting very off topic now, but either way, I was deceived by that. Even though I should have looked a little bit further and just clicked off the tweet and looked at the thing. But this is how autoplay works. We're in the autoplay generation. So yeah, Ubisoft, the masters of deception. More sneaky than Ezio Auditore. And more ruthless than our buddy Sam. So yeah, that's what deceived me. Have a happy day, folks. Bye.
I hate to admit it, but every single trailer designed to trick you has tricked me in the past. I was one of those people dreaming, genuinely having dreams about playing Watch Dogs. I was that smitten by the trailer. Like, if you have a shiny little marketing campaign, if you have a cool little vertical slice, I will be in there. And that was the exact case with Kane and Lynch, the original Kane and Lynch way back in the day when I was but a young Ben. And I had a little bit of birthday money. It was my birthday, and I was looking for a new game to buy, and I didn't know what to get. And I saw the trailer for Kane and Lynch, and I thought, this is a bit of me, this, you know? It's a nice little third-person shooter. It's got a cool hook between these two, you know, kind of like criminal psychotic characters. I want to see what that banter is about. I even looked at the reviews for this game, which, if you remember, weren't very good at all. There was an infamous debacle surrounding one of them that gave the game a low score. And overall, all of the reviews pointed towards this game just being like, all right at best, and at worst, like boring and not worth full price. But I took all of those reviews, I ingested them all, I considered them all, and I went back to those initial trailers and thought, you know what, they might not be right. Maybe the trailer is right. Maybe it is going to be as fun and as explosive as the trailer is. So I bought it anyway and regretted it. Totally regretted it, instantly regretted it, didn't like it at all. It was over in like, 5 hours or something. The game looks incredibly ugly, the gameplay itself is incredibly clunky, and even the characters themselves weren't as fun as I wanted them to be, and at the time I didn't have multiplayer, so I couldn't even play the admittedly quite cool multiplayer component. I was just lumped with this game, and nothing stings more than that, I think. Nothing stings more than being tricked by a trailer on the one hand, but then also being young and not having much money and using your birthday money, which only comes around once a year, so it's quite special, to buy a game that you're being tricked into thinking is going to be good, only to realize that the world is a horrible place, everyone lies to you, and that some video games are bad. I think I went and traded that in and got something else entirely eventually, but it was a disappointing couple of days. Ask my mum.
So a video game trailer that really tricked me the most has to have been the Resident Evil 8/Village trailer, because I remember sitting there and watching it and just having no clue, like not clicking to anything, and still thinking it looked like a really good game, but was trying to figure out what game this could possibly be. And the reason it just didn't seem like a Resident Evil game to me was because it just sort of featured a lot of supernatural sort of things that haven't really been present in any Resident Evil game at the moment or so far. And the main point that really threw me off was the werewolf. I'm seeing this village. It sort of looked like a Transylvanian village almost, with these big castles and old buildings, and you see these women, they kind of look like maybe witches or vampires or something, and that was the sort of vibe that I was getting, this really sort of old-fashioned maybe supernatural vampires, witches, and then I see the werewolf and I'm like, oh, maybe this is like a Van Helsing kind of game. I remember sitting there thinking like, oh, is it Van Helsing? Like, that's a cool, twist to it. And then, seeing this old man and he's talking to you, and you're seeing this werewolf sort of like breaking into this room, this house that they're in. And I thought, wow, this is a really cool concept for a video game, a Van Helsing game. And then I see Village come up, and I remember sitting there on my phone sort of like, oh yeah, this looks good. And then Village comes up and I was like, Village? Like Resident Evil Village? And then Resident Evil, and I was like, hang on a second, whoa. This is the Resident Evil game. And then that was it. I had to go back, I had to rewatch the trailer like so many times to pick up on stuff. And then obviously they slowly started to drop things with seeing Chris there and everything. And I was like, what? How is this a Resident Evil game? I was just like mind blown, completely confused. I felt like I missed so much. And yeah, it really tricked me. I 100% thought I was going to be getting a Van Helsing sort of game here, and there we go. It was Resident Evil. I'm excited, confused, and yeah, it got me. It got me good.